Hi everyone, welcome back. So let's resume our Aeon topic, deservingness. Let's start with the new series, which is this one. This uneasy connection between the economic and the moral is what deeply impacts social relationship. So let's see what the series hold for us, and then let's start with the first basis. This is where idea about economic deservingness come into play. Disruptive economic change and the inequalities it gives rise to are not merely abstract concepts, they resonate deeply within a person's heart and mind. Often, it is through the lens of economic deservingness that people make sense of such transformative shift. So, what this passage is saying that it is an idea about economic deservingness, which is a disruptive economic change, and the inequality it gives rise to are not a merely abstract concept. They resonate deeply within the person's hearts and mind. So, what basically this says that here the economic deservingness, this says that it's here idea about economic deservingness. Who deserve what? It's not only just affect the mind of the person, but it's deeply just make an impact on person heart even, because earlier the people are together like family and friends, but now they're completely strangers. They position themselves according to their economic status. So this summary of this, we should just summarize this whole passage, which is economic change and the inequality gives the rise are not merely abstract the concept, they resonate deeply within the person's heart and mind. That's all for this passage. Let's moving toward the next one. Economic deservingness involves two aspects. First, the distribution of material resources, which raise a question about fairness and redistributive justice. After 1989, who succeeded in moving up the social ladder, what did they gain and what were the reasons behind their success or failure? Second, the deservingness evaluate a personal level, entailing judgment about individuals and their moral quality. What person's quality are reflect in material gains or losses during the transitions of this new society. This uneasy connection between the economic and the moral unsettling because it brings together two realms that are often, for good reason, thought of as separate is what deeply impacts social relationships. For better or for worse, it is within their social networks that individuals develop a deep understanding of economic inequalities and express their nonsensed belief about justice. That what we can learn from listening to people's stories and memories of the post 1989 changes. So basically, what this passage is saying that economic deservingness involves two aspects. First, the distribution of material resource, which raise a question about fairness and redistributive justice. So it says that the economic deservingness is based on the two aspects. The first one is a distribution of material resources, which is means how much think, or we can say that materialistic things or necessities whom have and whom doesn't, and which raise a question about a fairness and redistributive justice. After 1989, who succeeded in the moving up the social ladder, what did they gain and what were the reasons behind their success or failure? It's raised a question. After 1989, what the person who just moving up the social ladder, just giving the higher status, what did they actually gain and why they achieved that success? or even failure. Who doesn't, then why they are failed? It's moving toward the next line. The second deservingness is evaluated at a personal level, entailing a judgment about individuals and their moral quality. What personal quality are reflected in material gain or loss during the transition to this new society? This uneasy connection between the economic and the moral unsettling because it brings together two realms that are often for good reason thought of as separate is what deeply impacts the social relationship. So what this passage says that the second deservingness is evaluation of at personal levels. It's about the person's own moral qualities. See, means how they reflect a material gain or loss, how they just respond to their failure and success with this new society. And it says that this uneasy connection between economic and the moral unsettling because it's bring together two realms that are often for good reason thought of as separate is what deeply impacts social relationship. So this unsettling, this moral and economic things is an unsettling because it's bring a two realm which is for the good reason as well and which is not for the good reason. And what it says for the better or for the worse, it is within their social network that individuals develop a deep understanding of economic inequalities and express their nonsense belief about justice. That's what we can learn from the listening to the people story and the memories of the post 1989 changes. So how the author comes to the conclusion of these two realms because of the experience of the people and the memories of the people after 1989 changes. How they just take this their success and their upgradation of the social well-beings and how the other side of people react to it. So, what we can just take from here is that the title of this passage is Changes Occur After 1989. And what we can take from here is that first, the distribution of material resource, and another one is that evaluated at a personal level entailing a judgment about individual and their moral quality. And another one is it's bring together two realms that are often for good reason thought of as separate is what deeply impact the social relationship. And another one is that for the better or for the worse, it is within their social network that individuals develop. We can take from here is that individuals develop a deep understanding of economic inequalities and express their nonsense belief about justice. That's all for this passage. Moving toward the next one. Before illustrating this point in more detail, it is worth noting that this is not limited to the transformation in Central and Eastern Europe after 1989. Even beyond this context, social scientists have often noted that the people drawn on social comparison to make sense of inequalities. They assess the significance of differences by comparing themselves to others, such as examining the income or the wealth of their peers. Though these comparisons, individuals' positions themselves within a social framework, determining what is considered normal or excessive. However, frequently this kind of a research only touches the surface when it comes to the people's reasoning about justice. Focusing solely on isolated instances of social comparison fail to address the meaning of the kinds of social relationships that are at stake here and consequently their moral implications. It overlooked the historical significance that underlies social connection and the formative power of experiencing how economic pathway might undermine and change egalitarian relationship. So basically what this passage is saying that before illustrating this point in more details about the stories and memories of the people after the 1989, it is worth noticing that this is not limiting to the transformation in Central or Eastern Europe after 1989. It says that this kind of a changes is not only limited to the Central or Eastern Europe after 1989. Means this kind of a changes occurred at many places. So let's see what else we can take. Even beyond this context, social scientists have often noted that the people drawn on social comparison to make sense of inequalities. He says that the social scientists observed that the people who came from the social comparison, they can make a great sense about inequalities. What inequalities? Those who came from that background, those who face this kind of inequalities, they can better understand these things. They assess the significance of differences by comparing themselves to others, such as examining the income of wealth to their peers. The firstly, how they just differ themselves. The firstly, it came from the income of wealth. It's a comparison. It's they just judge themselves or their peers according to the wealth, how much wealth they have. Though these comparisons individual position themselves within a social framework, determining what is considered normal or excessive. So this comparison can create a difference between a normal and excessive. Who get the normal wealth and who have an excessive amount of wealth, more than the normal people's wealth. However, the frequently this kind of a research only touches the surface when it comes to the people's reasoning about justice. So this kind of a resource came in light when there is need to be justice. When people are seeking to be justice, then this kind of a things came into the light of the people. Focusing solely on isolated instances of social comparison fails to address the meaning of kind of social relationship that are at stake here and consequently their moral implications. So instead of focusing on isolated instances of social comparisons, means what is the hidden situation about social comparisons which is failed to address the meaning of kind of social relationship that are at stake here and consequently their moral implications. Means uh, people are there finding the meaning of those social instances which are not easily available to the public. Because of that, they face lots of moral implications. It overlooks the historical significance that underlies social connection and the formative power of experiencing how economic pathways might undermine and change egalitarian relationship. So what this line is says that if we overlook the historical significance, whatever the historical research about these social connections, we are not able to find the economic pathway which is hidden behind all these realities. So, the title of this whole passage is Social Inequalities Among People. And what we can take from here is that first, people drawn on social comparison to make sense of inequalities, and these comparison individuals positions themselves within a social framework determining what is considered normal or excessive. Focusing solely on isolated instances for social comparison fail to address the meaning of kinds of social relationship that are at stake here, and frequently their moral implications. This we can take that, and overlook overlook the historical significance that underlies social connection and formative power, experiencing how economic pathway might undermine the changes authoritarians and relationships. That's all for this pieces. Let's moving toward the next one. This becomes apparent when we examine the fractures within the social fabric of post-communist society, the cracking and breaking of network branches. Individuals who lived through the 1990s often recount stories of losing connection, including former friends, in the aftermath of the system changes. Many have vivid memories of severing ties with individuals they were once closely associated with. It says this passage is saying that there it's the relationship after 1989 changes. It's looked like a fracture, means a fracture, a crack kind of network. Once the people who are close, now they are strangers. Sometimes the people have a vivid memories about someone, about something, but now its souls are cracked because of this economic changes. So we just make a summary of this whole passage. First, what we can take that recount stories of losing connections, including former friends with the aftermath of system changes. That we can just take from this passage. Let's moving toward the next passage. Lenka, a crèche healthcare worker in her late 40s, remember separating from a former friend in mid 1990s who made her feel inadequate, challenging her wish to stay normal amid the profound changes after 1989. Others remember breaking off contact, severing ties, not wanting to be associated anymore with some individual. As network sociologists know, relationships may end for reasons that are purely circumstantial, such as having less time for each other, moving away, or shifting jobs. However, individuals who witnessed the rapid increase in inequalities after 1989 often recount stories that indicate these ruptures are not neutral in nature. Instead, they carry a moral significance. The language employed by individuals when narrating such experiences reveal a sense of rupture, or what the sociologist Eva Alous calls micro-traumatic event. In her book, The End of Love 2019, in this episode, a breach of trust comes to light, an instant where the other person is held morally accountable for the resulting outcome. In many cases, this breach of trust are framed by economic deservingness. So basically, what this passage is saying that after it's a story about one of the healthcare worker, she just tells that separating from one of her former friend. Instead of at that time, people are just breaking off the contact, severing the ties, not wanting to be associated anymore. That time, her friend just say that stay normal with all these changes, still be stay normal. But after reading about or after researching about the stories of these peoples, the story about post 90 and 1819 people, it say that the relationship broke, but with the reason of we don't have time for each other, moving away or shifting job. But in this case, the relationship break because of the morals, because of the economical inequalities. But it is also a kind of a breach of trust. Because the people says that time, and this whole situation is called as a micro-traumatic event, which is given by Eva Illouz in her novel The End of a Love. That this breach of trust. So, what the title of this whole passage is? Breach of trust. And what we can take from here is that individuals who witnessed the rapid increase in inequalities after 1989 often recount stories that indicate these ruptures are not neutral in nature. This ruptures means breaking off this don't less time for each other, moving away or shifting jobs. But instead it's carry a moral significance. Microtraumatic events, this also we can take its importance line. First, the other person is held morally accountable for the resulting outcome. Breach of trust are framed by the economic deservingness. That's all for this passage. Let's moving toward the next one. The 1990s are typically remembered as a period of great economic opportunity. With the fall of communism, there was a freedom, there was a new market society. People wanted to be part of the process of social opening up. It is often expressed that the early 1990s provided a chance for individuals to seize the control of their own destinies, liberated from the constant of socialist complacency and the uniformity of life prospects. But what about those who were not ready to embrace this new future? So this passage says about talking about the new opportunities come forward to these people after 1989 changes. But still those peoples who are not ready to just embrace this futures. So what we can take from here, what the title of this, not the title, but the summary of this passage is new economic opportunity came in front of first a period of great economic opportunity and continuation of that the process of social opening up, change for individuals to seize the control of their own destinies, liberated from the constraint of the socialist complacency and the uniformity of life prospects. That we can just summarize. It's moving toward the another pieces, the next pieces. The process of privatizing the formerly socialist economy began in early 1990s. Soon after the political transition, numerous companies underwent downsizing or disappeared altogether. Millions of jobs were lost. In certain regions of East Germany, for example, unemployment affected up to a third of the adult population. Individuals had to navigate the changes of economic hardship. Some perceived those who were struggling as burdens, lacking the willingness to embrace the available opportunities. There are accounts of people severing ties with former friends whom they viewed as failing to seize new possibilities. For instance, Robert, a successful East German engineer and entrepreneur in his mid 60s, recounts how the period after the 1989 revolution purified his social circles. So some people were breaking away. Those who remain, they share your values. They know that you have to more or less take matter into your hand. So basically, what this passage is saying that the process of privatizing the formerly socialist economy began in early 90s, soon after the political transitions. It says that now the process started begin to privatizing the formerly social economy, and the numerous company underwent a downsizing of disappear altogether. Millions of jobs were lost. Like there are various companies who just completely shut down. Resultant of that, millions of people are jobless now. In certain regions of East Germany, for example, unemployment affected up to the third of adult populations. Individuals have to navigate the challenge of economic hardships. So, so it says that in east of Germany, the condition is that much worse that every third of the adult is unemployed. People are not able to navigate the challenges, not able to know what they should do at that situations. Some perceive those who were struggling as a burden, lacking the willingness to embrace the available opportunity. Say that something that those who are struggling, they think that they are burdens. They are not able to just embrace the available opportunity. Means they are not able to just make themselves, they don't think themselves that much of a skill to just take use of that available opportunity. They are considering themselves as a burden. There are accounts of people severing ties with former friends whom they view as falling to seize new possibilities. For instance, Robert, a successful East German engineer entrepreneur in his mid 60s, recount how the period after 1989 revolution purified his social circles. So some people were breaking away, those who remain, they share your values. They know that you have more or less take matter into your hand. So it says that some of the peoples who just going away from their circles, now they just, and those who stay with you, they have with some, what we can say, that some just profit and loss relationship. Means if they know that you are valuable to them, they are with you. But if they don't consider yourself to be helpful for them or beneficial for them, they don't have that ties with you. So, what we can, what the title of this passage is, unemployment situation after in early 1990s, unemployment situations. So, what we can take from here is that first, how this situation came. Numerous companies underwent downsizing or disappeared altogether. Millions of jobs were lost. Individuals had to navigate the changes of economic hardship. There are accounts of people severing ties with former friends whom they viewed as falling to seize new possibilities. That's all for this species. Let's moving toward the last species of this series. Questions arose about whether the other people were constantly complaining or instead demonstrating initiative or striving to make the best of the situation. In the episode of The Broken Friendship Ties, narrative often emerged about individuals who were seen as inert and unwilling to take responsibility of their own situation, particularly for those who had experienced upward mobility. This attitude of defiance become increasingly intolerable, leading to the end of friendship. Such view allow the successful to uphold mature creative values and assert their own commitment to hard work as intrinsic conviction. So, what we can just comprehend from this basis is that there is question about the people who are complaining about the whole situation, what they actually do to just figure out the solution of this whole situations. So the title of this whole passage is Reaction of the People. And what we can take from here is that episode of broken friendship ties narrative often emerge about individuals who were seen as inert and unwilling to take responsibility of their own situations. So people broke their friendship with those who are just complaining every time and don't take responsibility of their own. The successful to uphold meritocratic value and assert their own commitment to hard work as an intrinsic convictions. To getting up from these situations, it's completely require your own hard work. Because of that, you can just get over from this situation. Otherwise, you're just on that situation complaining about this happens, that, but you're not taking any action for this. So that's all for today. Hope you guys like it. Just see you guys tomorrow with next series. As of now, have a great day.